Thanks for joining me again this week. On Thursday, welcome Governor Wes Moore to Montgomery County to show him how we've used local, state, and federal resources to help build an electric vehicle infrastructure that will continue to grow as the number of EV vehicles in our county climbs. We invited the governor to the Woodvale Apartments in Silver Spring to give him an example of how we're rolling out an inclusive plan for EV charging stations by supporting the addition of them to affordable housing complexes and installing them in public garages and other sites throughout the county. Working to expand infrastructure for EVs is important. More than 10,000 new EVs have been registered in the last 12 months in Montgomery County, making up an estimated 25% of all new vehicles registered here. In Montgomery County, we're home to nearly 1 in 3 EVs registered in Maryland. Our county has accounted for 38% of the charging ports available in the state. Expanding the infrastructure is important because if we're going to meet our climate goals of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2027 and 100% by 2035, we have to get the public to buy in. There has been a dramatic decrease in pollution created by transportation in our county, at least the part of it that is county run, which accounts for about half of the greenhouse emissions today. We've used the Montgomery County Green Bank to help companies fund sustainable infrastructure because it all works to make our community better and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. We're the only jurisdiction in the state that has a green bank, and it's a model that we hope we'll be able to replicate in other jurisdictions. We're also very appreciative to the Moore-Miller administration and the Maryland Energy Administration for providing us the opportunity to apply for the state's new $23 million EV Supply Equipment Community Equity Grant Program. It is imperative that we invest more in our EV charging infrastructure and to build it out equitably. I'm glad that Governor Moore is prioritizing this issue and looking to us for policies and practices when it comes to EVs.
We're very excited about what the future can be, where we can have more EVs that are occupying the road, where we see there is an appetite for people to be able to take on EVs and to buy EVs. The two big things that they are focused on is A, how do we make sure we're keeping the cost down on the EVs, making sure they're affordable. But the second thing is it's range anxiety. It's making sure that people know that they can go out and be able to find places to charge. And that's why I think today, in the leadership that we've seen in the county, that's why this is so important, because this immediately helps to address, watching these new charging stations immediately helps to address one of the biggest issues and some of the biggest challenges people have is the idea of range anxiety.
I want to thank the governor for making this visit and addressing this very critical issue. November is an important month in which we as a county observe Remembrance and Reconciliation Month by embracing our past. There are several events aimed at helping us heal from a dark history that included slavery throughout our state and lynchings here in Montgomery County. Last November, historical markers were placed along Maryland Avenue in front of the council building to honor 2 of the 3 known lynching victims in the county. Reconciliation and Remembrance programming is being led by Jim Stowe, Director of the county's Office of Human Rights, who joined me this week for my media briefing.
When we talk about this particular event, we always have to make sure that we say their names. Mr. George Peck, who was lynched over in Poolsville. Mr. John Diggs Dorsey, who was lynched here in Rockville. And also Mr. Sidney Randolph, lynched also here in Rockville. And so when looking at this particular history, we have found as we've begun this process as a commission since 2020, to begin to look at the earnest truth about what happened.
This Friday also marks 160 years since our state's Emancipation Day. Maryland is one of the first states to abolish slavery in its Constitution, ahead of the nation's 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery nationwide the next year. We know that racist laws and policies continued well past the end of the Civil War. They helped shape where people lived, how they were moved out of neighborhoods, and who could own property for decades. Some of the events planned for the next few weeks focus on slavery, and others are more recent examples in which Black families were denied equal opportunities through education, housing, and wealth opportunities. Discrimination in housing was extreme, and it's not part of ancient history. Until the mid-1960s, Black residents and often Jewish people could not buy or rent housing in Montgomery County. And at the end of the 50s, as Washington was integrating, while white residents of the city were leaving DC and land developers in our county encouraged them to come here, where the housing was still segregated. It was an advertising lure to prospective buyers to our county. There are several events and listening sessions over the next few weeks that have been set up to help more residents understand the struggles Black Americans went through. They include an emancipation event at Josiah Henson Museum and Park this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. in North Bethesda. Another event is at the Sandy Springs Slave Museum on Saturday from noon to 3, honoring Emancipation Day. An evening to celebrate African and First Nation cultures at the Rockville Memorial Library is on Thursday, November 14th. Also that Thursday night, November 14th, an online seminar on exclusionary housing policies will be led by Montgomery History. I'm encouraging those who are interested to seek these opportunities and others in our community to engage in conversations that shine a spotlight on healing and help us move forward together. If you don't know your history well, then you don't understand the context in which you live. Please visit montgomerycountymd.gov/human rights to learn more about Remembrance and Reconciliation Month. This week, Rich Medellina, our CAO, had an opportunity to visit an innovative and sustainable way to reduce carbon emissions. Our utility partner, WSSC, will now be able to take what is flushed down the toilet and give it new life. The Piscataway Bioenergy facility is now producing methane gas that will help fuel our ride-on buses, a contract we agreed to last summer. According to WSSC, the region creates about 8,000 tons of biosolids per month, which are then turned into renewable natural gas. The solids are left behind and they're used for additives, for landscaping and gardening materials. This is great news for our bus fleet, but more importantly, our environment. Increasing the efficiency and reliability of our ride-on bus system is critical to the county's goal of reducing its carbon emissions by 100% by 2035. Transportation is the county's leading contributor to harmful emissions. This also helps WSSC become greener. This agreement is an important improvement within our fleet of ride-on vehicles. When coupled with our new electric buses and microgrids, it's another example of how the county has made significant progress toward our climate goals and is leaving positive legacy for our future generations. Early voting wrapped up this week across Maryland and in Montgomery County. Now the focus will turn to Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Maybe it's because former President Trump is back on the ballot after making unfounded claims of election fraud in 2020 and trying to overthrow the government, but there remains a lot of discussion about integrity and ballot security. I want to assure you that we have teams of people focused on it as well. On Election Day, our Emergency Operations Center will be open to coordinate, address any issues that arise regarding safety, security, and your ability to cast your ballot. Every one of the drop boxes used to collect mail-in ballots are under video surveillance. If you feel more comfortable turning in your mail-in ballot, you can do that at any polling location. There's no reason to discuss our strategies, nor is there reason for voters to be alarmed. Just know that we're thinking about this aspect of the process so that you don't need to. We're ready to respond, to mitigate, and address any issues that emerge at polling locations or drop-off sites, as well as any misinformation, to ensure that your right to vote is protected. Updated information from our Board of Elections is available at 777vote.org. Keep an eye on the green lights in Rockville, Silver Spring, and elsewhere in our community this November. Operation Greenlight is back to show support for veterans and their families. The county's Department of General Services will salute veterans by altering the lights at the Executive Office Building's Memorial Plaza. Lights will also go up on the green in Veterans Plaza in downtown Silver Spring starting November 1st. This week, my office and the County Council got a jump start on honoring Veterans Day with a joint proclamation. Thanks to MC.DOT and Special Ride-On Bus honoring the military will soon be on the road. Military families sacrifice so much for our nation. These tokens to honor our military and their families are the least we can do to honor Veterans Day. Visit montgomerycounty.gov/veterans for tributes to our local veterans and information about resources. Last week, we celebrated the opening of the new BioHub Education and Training Center that will help Montgomery County employees and businesses for years to come. Lieutenant Governor Rhoda Miller and Rockville Mayor Monique Ashton and other elected officials were there with the Maryland Tech Council leaders in Rockville Thursday to open this new facility. The Tech Council developed this facility in response to industry demand for more biomanufacturing training. The project is receiving $3 million from the county, $2.5 million in federal money made possible by Senator Chris Van Hollen, thank you very much, and an additional $1 million invested by the state. We very much appreciate the support and resources for this facility from our federal and state partners. The county is currently home to about 40,000 workers in the life sciences. The new facility will help complement educational programming at Montgomery College and the universities of Shady Grove that upskills our workforce with training in biomanufacturing. Our county has all the elements needed to be a great location for biopharma manufacturing opportunities. This facility provides new opportunities for residents across the county to enter this growing industry sector and ensures our employers will have the workforce they need as we continue to diversify our economy through manufacturing and see our area grow as a national leader in the life sciences. For more information about this facility, please visit biohubmaryland.com. Daylight savings time ends this Sunday, November 3rd. Though we pick up an extra hour of rest, the sacrifice means a fewer hours of daylight with our friend the sun. Because it gets darker sooner than we are used to, I want to remind everyone of how important it is for drivers to follow the speed limit. Watch out for bicyclists and pedestrians. Avoid walking in the road when possible, and always cross busy streets at a crosswalk or a lit intersection. This is also traditionally a good reminder to check the batteries on your smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms in your homes. That's a wrap for today. Hope you have a great week, and I'll be back again next week.